What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is the Love and Marriage Huntsville. Now, what they did was, instead of making this season 2, this is basically season 1 part 2. So this is going to be season 1 episode 11. Okay, so that's how they're doing it. Oh, look, y'all. No, actually, I'm sorry. I take that back. Episode 9. My bad. This is episode 9. So look, y'all, for those of you, I have a lot of new subscribers since this season ended. So let me say this, y'all. I have a love-hate relationship with Marcel. I love this show. I think this is probably one of the better reality shows on right now. It's not real ratchet and it's really dealing with, but I think I say all the time with reality shows that, you know, you have reality show meets reality. And with this show, I think we dealt with that with Martell and Melody. But we're going to get to them in a minute. But we start this episode off with Letitia and Marceau. Now, look, y'all. I got me a love-hate relationship with Marceau because I love Marceau. I do. I really like Marceau. But baby, sometimes Marceau irritates me with because he's very old-fashioned. In his mindset, he takes care of home, and you know, Letitia supposed to take care of the house. So we went through that last season. He came around, he accepted because it was outside of their 5-year plan or whatever their plan was. But he accepted it. Letitia is a working mom now, but she's struggling because it's hard. It is hard to be a working mom, and I'm not going to say Marceau isn't doing anything because I don't know what their day-to-day is. But in this particular scene, it seems like Marceau is not willing to adjust or change his schedule to help Letitia out. So, for example, Letitia gave her a list of what she had to do that day. And it was I guess the kids go to different schools, and one of the kids was sick. She had to take him to the doctor, and then she had an appointment with a client, and then she had a leadership class later on that day, and he still was like, so what time dinner gonna be ready? You know? And he said, baby, I'm kind of worried about you because I feel like you're doing too much. And she was like, well, you can help. And he was like, what? He said, well, I have to work. And again, I get it, and I respect the fact that Marceau makes a good living. But it just sounded like he wasn't trying to adjust his schedule. It was like, well, look, this is what I do. This is what you do. And you got to figure out how to make it work. Now, her suggestion was let my mama move in and my mama can help. Marceau was like, yeah, no. Not happening. Nope. Man. Nope. Nada. Zilch. Nah. Ain't gonna happen. And Letitia was like, well, you know, mama can do this, mama can do that, mama can do that, mama can do that. And Marceau was like, well, if she gonna be doing all that, I just need me another wife. You know, he don't mean like another like different person, but like an addition to. But again, I respect what Letitia is trying to do. Well, I'm not gonna say trying to do. I respect what Letitia is doing, but you could definitely see where it is straining her. And something's going to have to give because it is a lot to try to do without, I'm going to say with minimal help from your husband. We see single mothers do it all the time, and that's kind of where she is. And she said that last season, and she sort of got a little bit of flack about that single mother thing, but there's some things that I feel like she is struggling with that she shouldn't be struggling with because she got a husband. Anyway, done with them. My favorite couple, Miss Kimmy from the DMV, Whoop Whoop, and Maurice. You know, we ended up last season with their wedding, so we're fast forward 6 months later. They still have not gone on their honeymoon, and Kimmy is like, look, we need to go on and just make this happen because if we keep putting it off, then it's never going to happen. And Maurice is in law school. He was like, well, you know, I can't. He takes her on a safari, and she was like, I mean, this was all right for a date or something, but this not my honeymoon. And Maurice was like, why not? I mean, I know it's not Africa, but it's a safari. And she was like, you know, no. And she was like, look, we're going to make it happen next month. And he was like, I can't do it next month. You know, I have law school. She said, see, that's what I'm talking about. You got the law school, and then after law school, it's going to be taking the bar. Then after taking the bar, it's going to be a new job or starting your own practice or whatever you want to do with this law degree. And there's never going to be time. She said, right now, it's summer. The kids are not here. Let's just go do something. So, Maurice looked like he done lost a little bit of weight in these last 6 months. Looking good, Maurice, looking good. Now we got no disrespect, Kimmy. Now we have a little bit of an update on the comeback group. It seems as though Melody and Martell have moved forward with building these houses. However, the rest of the members of the comeback group don't really know what's going on with anything. And we find out later on that Melody ain't even responding to texts and phone calls. If it's dealing with the comeback group, she ain't talking about it. We also found out that Melody really hasn't been in touch with the group. The hosts have sort of gone MIA. And I'm sure after last season, with so much of their personal business being out there, that it was sort of, I guess, they're regrouping, but Melody had been having these like women's empowerment events, and Kimmy said she was going to go to the Mimosas, I think it's Mimosas with Melody event. And, Maurice was just kind of like, why you going? And Melody said, look, she said she felt like I wasn't there for her when her and Martell were going through what they were going through. I just want to show her that I could be a good friend. Even though I haven't really heard from her, I just want to reach out and just let her know that I got her back. So, Maurice was like, all right, cool, all right. Melody and Martell. Look, let me just go on and put this out here right now. Martell, and I said this last season, and I'm going to keep saying this. Martell is in love with that other woman. Period. What we found out was that things were doing better with Martell after he had his surgery, and things were good. Yeah, when he was laid up in your house because he couldn't walk, and he was on bed rest, and he couldn't go nowhere. Yeah, things were probably really good. And we saw them all over social media, honey, with Beyonce and at this event and that event and living that good life. But behind closed doors, it seems as though things were good until the phone rang. And it was a blocked number. And Melody answers the phone. And who is it? Her. Not a new woman. The same woman. Now, to hear Martell tell the story, he hadn't been in contact with that woman for 5 months, and this was the first time he had talked to her. And it just so happened to be around, that Melody happened to be around when the woman decided to call. If you think I believe that you hadn't had no contact with that woman in the last 5 months, I got a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you, Martell. Ciao. Bye. And so Melody's thing is, we're done. It's over. Like, you've broken my trust for the last time. You've broken my heart for the last time, and it's the same woman. And I think, cheating is cheating. But the fact that it's the same woman, if I'm Melody, I'm doing the same thing. I'm throwing in a white flag. Like, it's the same woman. You clearly want to be with this woman. So we see Melody going to see a divorce lawyer. And what we find out, baby, in the state of Alabama, after 10 years, Melody, she can tap into his retirement. She can get half of everything. Even though they built their business together and they should split it in half, but it's just a point that once you reach 10 years, it's pretty much no man's land unless you have a prenup or something, which they don't have. Now, on the other side, Martell has gone to go see a relationship expert to get some therapy. Martell is a narcissist. Nothing is his fault. It's never him. It's somebody else. First he said, I don't know what the first one was, but let's just go on with the ones. Because what did he say last year? That he was in the wrong place at the wrong time with the right person. So that's what he said at first. And the therapist was like, say what? Like what? What? Then he tried to say, well, I was hanging around the wrong people and all of them were cheating, so I guess I just convinced myself that it was okay for me to cheat. The therapist was like, it just sounds like you're not taking responsibility for anything. No, I am. I'm just saying that that's the truth. And, I guess, what they say about birds of a feather flock together. I was just definitely with the wrong people who, just were a bad influence on me. Like, he was 5 years old and they convinced him to smoke a cigarette. Like, Nobody's going to make you cheat on your wife. And just because you hanging out with cheaters, ain't nobody going to make you cheat on your wife. So then the therapist is asking him about this woman. And he called her... Oh, he didn't... What did he call her? It wasn't basic. What did he call that woman? Because it wasn't basic, but it was worse than basic. But let's just, he said low rent. Maybe he did say basic. But whatever it was so disrespectful. It was so disrespectful. And let me say this to you, Mr. Martell. Whoever this woman was, all last season, she kept your secrets. She ain't go on social media. She ain't blast you on the Twitter. She didn't do no interviews. She didn't put you on the shade room. None of that. She kept your secret. Even though everybody on the show and everybody who live in Huntsville know who this woman is, we never found out. Okay? Nobody sent us nothing in our emails and all of that. But you going on here calling that woman basic and low rent. And then the therapist was even like, are you what? You called her what? Like, really? And then went on to say how she was beneath him. Baby, I get this episode less than a week before we find out who this woman is. Because if it's me, I mean, it's one thing that I'm the worst kept secret in Huntsville. It's something different for you to be insulting me. See, last season, he sort of defended her and kept her protected. But now I'm beneath you. I'm basic. Oh, no. So, Martell, I don't know. You in danger, boy. But you could tell the therapist was really taken aback by Martell. But I'm like, you are such a narcissist. At no point in time did he say, I messed up. And I don't know what to do to get my wife back. I didn't hear him say none of that. It was always about what everybody else did that caused him to cheat on his wife. Anyway, so we get to the event, Mimosas with Melody. And it's a beautiful event. I remember seeing a picture of Melody in that dress. That is a beautiful dress she has on. I mean, she looks really good. And so Kimmy is there. And she proceeds to go through, she has a Q&A. And she really opens up and shares a lot about what she was going through with the infidelity and everything with Martell. And Kimmy was like, well, hell, she telling these strangers more than she ever told her friends or us if we're supposed to be her friends. And she ends up having a conversation with Melody after the event, and Melody is giving her the social media Melody, the smiling, hey girl, how you doing? All right, it's good to see you. Glad you could make it. I was a little disappointed you didn't come to the first event. Oh, the comeback group? I don't want to say anything. I'm dealing with the comeback group. Nope, I'm not dealing with nothing with the And, Kimmy was like, yeah, because I couldn't tell when I was sending you text messages if you were just ignoring me or, she said, well, I just wasn't anything with the comeback group, girl. I was just deleting that. How we going to be in business together and you just deleting text messages about the business? And Kimmy was sort of taken aback by her, like, okay. She said, well, I think we really need to meet up and talk. And she was like, yeah, I think we should. I think we should sit down and really talk this out. And basically, Melody's attitude is she don't want to do, well, she didn't want to do the comeback group, no way. She started off wanting to do the comeback group. I think it was her idea to bring them all back together, but we saw what we were by the end of last season. She was over it, but I think she was over it because she was over Martell. So it was weird, but they talked or whatever. So Kimmy ends up having a conversation with Letitia. She says, I went to Melody's event and it was just really weird. I mean, and Melody said something about it being a beautiful venue. Like, yeah, girl, that's where I'm gonna have my second marriage, And Kimmy was like, say what? So, like, are things good? Are things not good? Like, if you see social media, y'all look like y'all, couple of the year, but now you talking about your second marriage. Like, what? And Letitia was like, that's exactly it. She said, Melody puts on a front for everybody else, but then she complains that nobody's there for her. How we gonna be there for her when you telling us you fine? You telling us everything is cool. It's not until it hits, social media or whatever, then all of a sudden you got a problem. And Letitia was saying how she was upset with Melody because, remember last season when Martell went to the strip club without his without his wedding ring. She said Melody threw something on social media, was like, well, I know why he didn't have on his wedding ring. And Letitia was like, look, if we supposed to be friends and you know something about my husband, let a sister know. Like, don't throw nothing on Twitter. Call me. Like, if it's really good, like, if you really know what was going on or something is going on, then tell me about it. She said, you know, I've also lost my grandmother and my aunt, and at no point in time did I hear from Melody. She didn't reach out to me. So don't tell me that I'm a bad friend. Don't tell me that I'm not there for you. You haven't been there for me. And you haven't reached out to me when I've gone through things. And you knew how close I was to my aunt. And you knew what I was going through. And Kimmy said, exactly. Like, you know, I felt the same way. You know, like she's tapping us on the hand when we're not there for her. But I don't, you know, that goes both ways. And she doesn't reach out to us. Like, ain't nobody heard from them in months, you know. And I'm going to say this. I try not to bring social media stuff. Well, I'm a lie, I do. But I noticed that they're doing this press tour for the premiere. And on social media, you see Melody taking her pictures by herself. And you see Letitia and Kimmy doing it. So you could tell that there's definitely a split in the group with the two groups or what have you. Then we got the showdown. We got the showdown with Martell and Melody. Martell comes home and Melody wants to know what you doing here. She said, you're supposed to move out. You were supposed to move out. He said, I'm supposed to move out today. She said, exactly. So why get out? You know, so she's basically telling him to get his stuff and leave. And he's trying to convince her to let him stay. And again, at no point in time is he taking responsibility for what he did. He's making up all these excuses. And once again, what does he throw back in her face? Like he did the same thing last season. I mean, all the great things I've done as all the great things I've done for you, all the great things that I've done as a husband, you know, she said, all the great things, you cheated multiple, you are a serial cheater. What do you mean all the great things you've done for me as a husband? He said, but you act like that's one thing. What about all the other things? She said, I don't care about all the other things. This I care about, and you can't stop cheating on me. So it is a wrap. We're done. And he's, you know, he says, well, let me just move up. I'm just going to move upstairs. She said, no, you're not. He said, well, that would, you know, that's just would be easier. She said, easier for you. She said, that's what the problem is. Everything is about what's easiest for you. I want you out. I want you out. So then he says, why don't you leave? She said, I'm not leaving. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't cause this. I'm not going anywhere. You're going to leave. She said, I'm going to stay here with the kids so I can do their hair and all that. He said, well, I can get the kids' hair done. Melody gave him this look like a Negro. So then he says, okay, fine, I'll leave. And he going to tell her this, once I leave, that's it. She said, good. Bye. It's over. Like, that's what I want. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. So, baby, that was pretty much this first episode. You know, of course, they setting us up for the storylines for the season. So, that second half of the season. So, we're going to see where this goes, honey. But things ain't looking good for Mr. Martell now. I ain't going to get into what we know about, because we've been looking at social media. We just going to go along with the storyline. And we're going to see where we end up. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.